What happens when the price of a dream vacation is your very soul? Imagine standing in the middle of a suffocating jungle, miles away from civilization, in a villa that looks abandoned but feels terrifyingly alive. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something metallic like old blood. You came here for fun, for cheap thrills, but the walls are bleeding and the shadows in the corners are watching you with hungry eyes. This isn't just a story about a haunted house. This is a story about five friends who walked into a trap set by the dead where the only way out might be to leave a piece of yourself behind forever. It begins with a melody that shouldn't exist. A piano playing in an empty living room at 3 a.m., but the horror doesn't stop there. Imagine brushing your teeth in a dusty bathroom mirror, feeling a cold, rotting breath on the back of your neck, turning around to find absolutely nothing but the hollow echo of your own heartbeat. Picture lying in bed, paralyzed as a wrinkled, corpse-like hand reaches out from the darkness to caress your face, while a child's bloody footprint appears on the clean white sheets beside you. These aren't just jump scares. They are warnings. The villa wants them to stay. The villa is hungry. Tonight, we are unwinding the terrifying threads of a story that takes place in the mountains of Indonesia. It involves a group of five friends, Ferdie, Sarah, Miko, Dio, and Lee, who thought they found the deal of a lifetime. A massive colonial-era villa for a price that was too good to be true. They laughed about it, thinking they were smart travelers. But they had no idea they were driving straight into the mouth of hell. This is the story of the Hens family of a little girl named Nani, who watched her mother die, and of a secret buried so deep in the basement that it took 70 years to claw its way back up. Let's go back to where the nightmare truly begins, to a busy restaurant in the city. The vibe is electric, filled with the noise of clinking cutlery and loud laughter. We see our group of five friends, Ferdie, Sarah, Miko, and Dio. They are laughing, eating, enjoying the buzz of youth. But the center of attention is Lee. She isn't just their friend. She works at this restaurant, and today is special because her shift is finally over. She's tired, her apron stained with the day's work, but her eyes light up when she sees her friends. There's a subtle tension here, though. Ferdie watches Lee a little too closely. Everyone at the table knows he's in love with her, but he's too afraid to say it, terrified that ruining their friendship would mean losing her forever. Dio, the self-appointed planner of the group, is beaming. He has big news. He tells them he's booked a villa for their 5-day trip. He pulls up photos on his phone and the place looks stunning. It's a massive structure surrounded by lush, terrifyingly dense forests. It has 4 bedrooms, a pool, and a view that looks like it belongs on a postcard. But the price is suspiciously low. Sarah, who has always been the sensitive one, the one who feels things before they happen, looks at the photos and frowns. It looks ominous, she says, rubbing her arms as if a sudden chill has touched her. I have a bad feeling about this place. Lee, the practical one, laughs it off. Dio, you paid up front? No deposit? Dio assures them the caretaker, a guy named Soonard, seemed very honest. We pay when we arrive, Dio says confidently. But Sarah can't shake the dread. She asks Lee why such a massive, beautiful villa in a prime location is so cheap. Lee just shrugs, but the seed of doubt is planted. They finish their meal, pile into Ferdie's car, and begin the long journey into the mountains. The drive is long and winding. The asphalt gives way to gravel, and the lush greenery of the city turns into a dark, oppressive jungle. The trees seem to lean over the road, blocking out the sky. The mood in the car shifts from excitement to a nervous silence. Ferdie drives, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. He keeps glancing at Lee in the passenger seat, sleeping peacefully. He thinks about that day he almost confessed his feelings and how fear stopped him. He thinks about how this trip is his chance, maybe his last chance, to tell her everything. Hours later, they arrive. The sun is setting, casting long, eerie shadows over the villa. In the fading light, the place doesn't look like the photos. It looks tired, the paint is peeling, the windows are clouded with dust, and the vegetation is overgrown, like the jungle is trying to reclaim the stone and wood. Soonard, the caretaker, is waiting for them. He's a strange man, quiet, with eyes that dart around as if he's expecting something to jump out of the trees. He hands them the keys and gives them a tour, but there is one rule he emphasizes with shaking hands. "There is a staircase," he says, pointing to a dark, narrow corridor. "It leads to the basement. The storeroom is down there. Do not go down there." "It is unsafe," they nod, thinking nothing of it. He leaves them at the front gate, retreating to a small shack at the back of the property, almost eager to get away from the main house. As soon as he is gone, the atmosphere changes. The air grows cold. They enter the main hall, and it's grand but dusty. Cobwebs hang from the chandeliers like ghostly curtains. Miko, the joker of the group, tries to lighten the mood. He runs to the old piano in the corner and slams his hands on the keys. A discordant crash echoes through the empty halls, making everyone jump. "Just testing the acoustics." He laughs, but no one else is laughing. That night, the dread begins to seep in. It starts small. Ferdie goes to the bathroom to wash up. The water from the tap is brown and rusty. He's scrubbing his face, looking in the mirror when he feels it, a pressure against his back. Like someone is standing right behind him, inches away. He can feel the heat of a body, or perhaps the cold of a corpse. He spins around, water dripping from his chin. The bathroom is empty. He checks the shower stall. Nothing. He shakes his head, blaming it on exhaustion and the long drive. Meanwhile, outside, Sarah is sitting on the porch, looking out at the dark jungle. She sees a figure standing near the old well at the edge of the property. It looks like an old woman, dressed in rags, just staring. Sarah blinks, and the figure is gone. She runs inside, telling herself she's just tired. But the real horror starts in the living room. Miko is walking past a window, and he freezes. Standing there, just a few feet away on the other side of the glass, is a little girl. She looks to be about 7 years old, wearing a dirty white dress. Her skin is pale, almost translucent. Miko gasps and backs away. The girl doesn't move. She doesn't blink. She just stares at him with eyes that are too black, too empty. Suddenly she vanishes. Not runs away, just blinks out of existence. Miko screams, bringing everyone running. He points at the window, stammering about the girl. Dio looks out. Nothing but the dark forest and the reflection of the moon. "You're seeing things, man," Dio says, annoyed. "You watch too many horror movies on the way here," but Miko is pale, shaking. He knows what he saw. That night, the house comes alive. They are trying to settle in, choosing rooms. Ferdie wants to share a room with Lee, acting protective. Miko and Dio take another, leaving Sarah alone. The house creaks and groans like a living beast. Sarah, trying to be brave, goes to the wardrobe in her room to unpack. She slides the heavy wooden door open, and inside, scratched deep into the wood with what looks like a sharp metal object, are the words, "Help me." She stares at it, her heart hammering. She screams, and the boys come running. They see the scratches. It's undeniable. Someone was trapped in here. Someone needed help, but the scratches are old, dusty. Dio tries to rationalize it. "Probably kids who broke in years ago," he says, though his voice lacks conviction. Sarah refuses to stay in that room. She ends up squeezing into a bed with Lee, both of them terrified, listening to the wind howling outside like a wounded animal. The next morning, the sun brings a false sense of security. The jungle looks beautiful again, bathed in golden light. They try to shake off the fear, acting like normal tourists. They cook breakfast in the dusty kitchen, making jokes about the haunted vibes, but the unease is palpable. They decide to go hiking to find a waterfall Dio saw on a map. They leave the house behind, stepping into the humid embrace of the forest. While hiking, the atmosphere is tense. Sarah is jumpy at every sound. Dio and Miko are bickering about the map, trying to mask their fear with irritation. Ferdie walks behind Lee, watching over her like a hawk. They find the waterfall, and it's breathtaking. For a moment, they forget the villa. They take photos, splash in the cool water, and laugh. It feels like a normal vacation again. But as they prepare a group selfie, something happens. Ferdie is taking the picture. He looks at the screen of his camera. In the digital image, the waterfall is behind them, but over their shoulders, standing in the trees, are faces. Dozens of pale, blurry faces staring right at the lens. Ferdie lowers the camera, spinning around. The forest behind them is empty. He looks at the photo again. The faces are there. He says nothing, putting the phone in his pocket, not wanting to ruin their moment, but the seed of terror has taken root. They return to the villa as evening falls. The house feels different now. It feels hostile. The sun goes down and the temperature inside drops 10 degrees. That night, the true escalation begins. Sarah goes to take a shower. She's scrubbing her hair, trying to wash away the feeling of the forest when she hears it. A scratching sound, not an animal but a fingernail on tile. Asterisk scritch, scritch, scritch. Asterisk she freezes, water cascading over her face. She calls out, "Leah? Is that you?" No answer. The scratching gets louder, more desperate, coming from inside the shower wall. She reaches out to turn off the water, and as her hand touches the metal handle, blood starts to pour from the shower head. Not rusty, water-thick, warm, red blood. It covers her hands, her chest, her face. She screams, a raw, throat-tearing sound, slipping in the red puddle on the floor. The others come sprinting. They burst into the bathroom, expecting a massacre, but the scene is impossible. The water is clear, the floor is dry. Sarah is cowering in the corner, screaming about blood, but she is clean, not a drop of red on her. They look at her like she's crazy. Dio, frustrated and scared, snaps at her. "Sarah, stop it! You're scaring everyone!" Miko looks at her with pity, thinking the stress is getting to her. But Sarah isn't crazy. She knows what she felt. She knows what she saw. The night spirals from bad to worse. They decide to turn in early, exhausted and rattled. Ferdie is lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. The house is too quiet. Suddenly, the silence is broken. Music, piano music. A slow, melancholic tune drifting up from the living room. Ferdie sits up. Everyone is asleep. He grabs a flashlight, his heart pounding. "Who is playing?" he whispers. He creeps down the hallway. The living room is pitch black. He shines his light at the piano. The keys are moving. No, that's not right. No one is there. The keys are depressed, as if invisible fingers are pressing them. He sweeps the light around the room. Nothing. Then he hears breathing, not his own. A wet, raspy breath right behind his ear. He spins the flashlight around. The beam catches a figure standing in the corner. It's an old woman, dressed in tattered clothes, her face a mask of wrinkles and hate. Her eyes glow faintly in the dark. Ferdie freezes, paralyzed by fear. The figure takes a step toward him. Then the music stops abruptly. Ferdie blinks and she is gone. The next morning, the group is on edge. They gather for breakfast, no one sleeping well. Miko and Dio get into a heated argument about leaving. "We need to go now," Miko insists. "This place is evil," Dio, stubborn and prideful, refuses. "We paid for 5 days. We are not losing that money. Besides, my car is fine. We can leave whenever we want." The tension is thick, poisoning their friendship. Lee tries to mediate, but even she looks tired, her usual cheer replaced by a deep anxiety. Sarah, still shaken from the shower incident, wanders outside. She needs air. She finds herself near the back of the house, where the ground is uneven. She trips over a root and falls, scratching her hand. She looks down to see what tripped her. It's not a root. It's a stone, a headstone. She looks up. She is sitting in the middle of a graveyard. Dozens of old, crumbling graves hidden behind overgrown bush. She screams. The others come running. They stand in the overgrown cemetery, the reality crashing down on them. The caretaker, Soonard, never mentioned this. The website never showed this. They are living on top of the tomb. Filled with anger and panic, they march to Soonard's shack at the back of the property. They bang on the door. No answer. They pound harder. Finally, the door creaks open on its own. The shack is empty. Dust covers everything. It looks like no one has lived here for years. On the table, they find an old journal. They open it. It belongs to a man named Tarsa. As they read, the horrifying history of the villa unfolds. 70 years ago, this wasn't a vacation rental. It was the home of a Dutch captain named Mr. Hens and his family. Hens built this villa for his wife and 2 daughters. It was a place of joy until the day greed arrived. 3 local workers, consumed by jealousy and envy, decided to rob the house during a grand party. But Mr. Hens caught them. He didn't just fire them. He humiliated them, throwing them out like dogs. The workers swore revenge. One night they returned, not to steal, but to slaughter. They broke in during the celebration of Captain Hens' youngest daughter's birthday. They found Mr. Hens in the hallway and cut him down. Mrs. Hens, the mother, tried to save her children. She fought like a lioness, but they were too many. They killed the older daughter in front of the mother. Then they turned on Mrs. Hens. But there was a miracle, a small, tragic miracle. The youngest daughter, little Nani, managed to hide. She crawled inside the wardrobe in her bedroom, the same wardrobe Sarah found the scratches in. She used a sharp spoon to carve "Help me" into the wood, hoping, praying someone would come. She watched through the crack in the door as her mother was murdered, as her father's blood pooled on the floor. The workers, thinking they had killed everyone, set fire to parts of the house to cover their tracks and left. Nani survived. She was found by villagers hours later, hiding in the burnt ruins, traumatized and physically broken. She had suffered a severe head injury during the chaos, leaving her paralyzed and unable to walk properly for the rest of her life. But the nightmare didn't end there. The spirits of the workers, filled with dark energy, couldn't leave. And the spirit of Mrs. Hens, a mother consumed by grief and rage, refused to abandon her home. The villa became a battleground. The workers were dragged to hell by the vengeful mother, who then turned her spirit into a guardian. She and her husband stayed behind, watching over the ruins, waiting for Nani, but where was Nani now? The journal entries stop abruptly. Dio looks up, his face pale. The caretaker, Sunard, he said he was the grandson. They realize Sunard is a descendant of the killers, or perhaps the hired help, bound to the land to keep the secrets buried. But they haven't just found ghosts. They have awakened them. Terrified, they decide to leave immediately. Forget the money, forget the plan. They run to the car. Ferdie jumps in the driver's seat, turns the key. The engine sputters. He tries again. Silence. The battery is dead. Or worse, something has drained it. He pops the hood, checking the engine. It looks fine. But there, wrapped around the spark plugs, is a thick, black cobweb, sticky and wet like oil. It wasn't there when they arrived. Night falls again, and this time there is no pretense of safety. The house is dark, but they are not alone. The piano starts up again, but this time it's erratic, violent banging. The lights flicker in a rhythmic pattern like a heartbeat. Dio and Miko try to stay calm, cleaning the kitchen to keep busy, but they jump at every shadow. Sarah and Lee huddle together in the living room, clutching each other. Then Ferdie sees her again, the old woman. But this time, she isn't in the shadows. She is sitting at the piano, playing. Her hands are skeletal, her movements jerky and unnatural. Ferdie feels a pull, an urge to walk toward her. He fights it, grabbing a fireplace poker. "We have to get out," he yells. "We can't stay here another night." Suddenly, the front door slams open. A wind rushes in, blowing papers everywhere. They hear a voice. It's not a ghostly whisper, but a clear, human voice coming from the basement. "Let me out. Please, let me out." The friends look at each other, the forbidden door, the staircase Sunard warned them about. The voice sounds like a little girl, but distorted, as if speaking through water. Ferdie grabs a flashlight. "We have to check," he says. "Someone is down there?" Miko and Dio refuse, terrified. But Ferdie, driven by a need to protect the others and perhaps a supernatural compulsion, walks toward the door. Lee follows him, terrified but unwilling to let him go alone. Sarah and Miko stay at the top of the stairs, watching. They descend into the cold, damp basement. The air is thick with mold. The flashlight beam cuts through the darkness, revealing old furniture covered in sheets, looking like shrouded bodies. In the far corner, they see a figure. It's a small, huddled shape. "Nani?" Ferdie whispers. The figure turns. It's an old woman now, her body twisted by years of paralysis. Her eyes are wild. But behind her, the room changes. The shadows peel away from the walls, taking form. They see the Hens family. Captain Hens, tall and imposing. Mrs. Hens, beautiful but terrifying, her eyes burning with protective fury. And the workers, twisted, demonic figures, gnashing their teeth. The spirits aren't attacking Ferdie and Lee. They are attacking the old woman. The demonic figures of the workers are trying to drag her into the darkness. Mrs. Hens is screaming a silent scream, trying to hold them back. The reality crashes down on them. This isn't just a haunting. The evil workers have been trapped here for 70 years, feeding on the energy of the living, trying to complete their work by killing the last survivor. Nani, Mrs. Hens, has been holding them back, but she is weak. She needs help. Ferdie and Lee grab Nani. We have to get her out. Ferdie shouts. They drag the paralyzed woman toward the stairs. The demons shriek, a sound like tearing metal. They lunge. The air grows cold, freezing their breath. Captain Hens steps forward, his translucent form blocking the path of a demon. He looks at Ferdie, and for a second, their eyes meet, a silent pact. Save her. They scramble up the stairs, dragging Nani as fast as they can. Sarah and Miko scream as the dark figures flood the basement hall, swarming up the steps like rats. They burst into the living room, slamming the basement door shut. The house shakes. The windows rattle. The piano smashes against the wall. The car! Dio yells, we have to push it. They don't wait. They run out into the night. The moon is obscured by storm clouds that have gathered instantly. Thunder rolls, shaking the ground. They reach the car. Ferdie and Miko get behind to push. Dio steers. Lee and Sarah shield Nani in the back seat. They push with everything they have, screaming with exertion. The car moves slowly, tires spinning in the gravel. From the house, they see it. The shadows. They are pouring out of every window, every door, forming a massive, tidal wave of darkness that flows across the lawn toward them. And at the crest of the wave is the leader of the workers, axe raised high, screaming for revenge. The piano music plays one last deafening chord. The car catches traction. It lurches forward, then speeds down the driveway. They don't look back. They drive until the villa is a speck in the rearview mirror, until the road turns and the jungle swallows it up. They drive all night, none of them speaking. They drive until the sun rises, painting the sky in innocent pinks and oranges. They stop at a diner in a small town, collapsing onto the plastic booths. They order coffee, their hands shaking uncontrollably. They are alive. They ask around. They find out the truth about the villa. The place has been abandoned for decades. Locals know it as the House of Weeping. There is no caretaker named Soonard. He died years ago, the website they used. A ghost site, a digital phantom that appears and disappears. They return to the city, forever changed. The trauma binds them together, but it also creates a distance. They don't talk about that night. They try to go back to normal lives. Ferdie and Lee grow closer, finding comfort in each other's arms, but the story, it doesn't have a clean ending. A few weeks later, they are at a restaurant, the same one where the trip started. They are laughing, trying to heal. Ferdie looks at Lee. He finally does it. He reaches across the table and takes her hand. I love you, he says. It's a moment of pure joy, of victory over the darkness. Lee smiles, tears in her eyes. I love you too, the friends cheer. They take a group photo to commemorate the moment, a new beginning. They look at the screen of the camera. Everyone is smiling, everyone looks happy, except Ferdie. In the photo, Ferdie is holding Lee's hand. He is smiling, but his eyes are gone, replaced by deep black voids. And behind him, faintly superimposed over his back, is the face of the demon leader from the villa, grinning. Ferdie doesn't see it. He just laughs, putting his arm around Lee, staring at the camera with a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes anymore. The car starts without a key. The lights in his house flicker to the beat of a song no one else can hear. The villa is empty now, but the darkness found a new home. It didn't need the house. It found a ride back to the city. And it's sitting right there at the table, waiting for the next family gathering, waiting for the next nightfall.